This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by CardMaxPayments.com, the trusted merchant processing broker that helps hard-to-place merchant industries find trustworthy, reliable payment processing services. CardMax Payments can help you do more of your financial transactions digitally if you have a legal adult use or medical marijuana dispensary, head shop, vape shop, or online CBD or hemp products store. Say goodbye to the burdens of doing all of your customers' transactions in cash by saying hello to CardMax Payments, which you can learn more about over at CardMaxPayments.com, which is spelled exactly like it sounds. That's CardMaxPayments.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, April 26th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 477 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a pickup by Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moment of some seemingly supportive comments made by U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions about medical marijuana. Kind of. While testifying at a meeting of a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee, Attorney General Sessions admitted, quote, there may well be some benefit from medical marijuana, unquote, and said that it was appropriate to study its effects. Sessions also said that the Department of Justice was working to add more licensed researchers to the ranks of those who are allowed to study marijuana academically, even as DOJ officials have halted the process of doing just that by the Drug Enforcement Administration. Swing over to Tom's piece on this one for all the details and some video of the subcommittee's proceedings. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Another friend of the show picks up our second top story today as my good buddy Chris Crane, who is a regular and a host on our weekly podcast Marijuana Today, penned an article over at Forbes about the ever-crashing price of legal wholesale cannabis. His well-titled story, quote, Cannabis cultivation will be a race to the bottom, unquote, parses some of the reasons why cannabis cultivation is, at best, a short-term economic opportunity that has gained all of its current boosted value through artificial restrictions on licensing. In other words, you can make a lot of money right now in states where only a handful of cultivators are allowed, but as those restrictions fall away, it gets really difficult to do the same unless you scale up to industrial levels. And even then, once international restrictions on moving cannabis around fall, the price of marijuana will drop even more as industrial-sized operations spring up in countries like Mexico, with an abundance of both year-round sunshine and cheaper labor. If your business at all touches marijuana, this is a storyline you need to be intimately familiar with. Herb has a fantastic longer-form piece up looking at former Massachusetts Congressman Patrick Kennedy, a noted prohibitionist who also just so happens to have extensive financial ties to the drug treatment industry, having taken home more than $1 million in salary and other benefits in recent years from companies whose business involves charging people for drug treatment. Mr. Kennedy is one of the principals of prohibitionist group Smarter Approaches to Marijuana, aka Project SAM, and regularly lobbies for legislation beneficial to his corporate drug treatment masters. This is a good thing to keep in mind the next time you hear some prohibitionist, especially if they're from Project SAM, railing about big marijuana. Ask them how much backing they get from big drug treatment. Another excellent one to read in full. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, CardMax Payments, the trusted merchant processing broker that helps hard-to-place merchant industries find trustworthy, reliable payment processing services. CardMax Payments specializes in working with industries like legal marijuana and can help you do less of your business in all cash. You'll enjoy the benefits of greater transparency and traceability when you work with people like the pros at CardMax Payments. They have an extensive network of payment processing providers who they work with to craft retail solutions for you, their clients. If you have a legal marijuana or adult use marijuana dispensary, head shop, vape shop, or online online CBD or hemp products store, then CardMax Payments wants to talk to you about how they can help you handle less of your transactions in all cash. Just swing over to cardmaxpayments.com for a free and quick quote on what it would look like to work with CardMax Payments. That's cardmaxpayments.com. And make sure to let them know you heard about them here on Marijuana Today Daily. All right, time for the Blitz. A new study published in the March edition of the journal Addiction showed a marked increase in the number of older Americans using medical marijuana. Using survey data from 40,000 people taken over a 30-year span, researchers at the Alcohol Research Group said the number of people in their 50s using medical marijuana jumped from 3% in the 90s to more than 10% today. A similar rise in the number of people 60 years and older using medical marijuana was seen, though that didn't really start to take off until 2010 or so, jumping from under 2% to its current level around 7%. This makes a lot of sense given how helpful marijuana can be medicinally, combined with its ever-increasing easy and legal availability. The Canadian province of British Columbia is expected to move swiftly to pass legislation for how it will legalize adult-use marijuana later this year as nationwide legalization takes effect. The British Columbia Legislative Assembly's current session runs out in less than 2 weeks, and a number of items remain on its agenda, including the passage of a comprehensive cannabis law. Matt Lamers over at Marijuana Business Daily is reporting that the Assembly is expected to take up discussion on the marijuana matters as early as today, so we'll keep an eye on this storyline. Colorado Public Radio is a good interview up with Colorado Republican Senator Gardner, who is expected to introduce soon legislation along with Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren to remove many of the current federal restrictions on the legal marijuana industry, including bans on cannabis businesses taking regular tax deductions with the IRS and business banking services. Some good potential social justice news out of Illinois as the state house will take up this week deliberations over a proposed bill to allow people with past convictions for possessing small amounts of marijuana to petition the courts to expunge their records. Illinois House Bill 2367 was advanced out of committee on Tuesday and was introduced by Representative LaShawn Ford. Another one we'll keep on our watch list. The Associated Press has a good story out of Oregon highlighting an issue that's likely to be found in other legal marijuana states. That's the problem of having too much data and not enough capability to analyze it. Oregon state law requires that its legal marijuana industry closely track and monitor its cannabis from seed to sale, which has generated a mountain of data beyond the analytical powers of the one full-time analyst currently employed by the state. Though the tracking data has been found to be useful in audits of suspected shady behavior after the fact, most of the cases of possible Oregon cannabis fraud were not caught in the numbers. Keeping our sights out west, we jump up to Washington state, where there are calls being made within its legal marijuana industry to start imposing testing standards. Right now, Washington state cannabis cultivators aren't required to test their products, and a lot of smaller scale operators are naturally concerned about the increased costs associated with mandated testing. Another good issue to have a handle on. And finally for today, big congratulations to the folks over at Dope Media, publishers of Dope Magazine, for raising $875,000 in investment. Dope Media is led by George Jage, former president over at Marijuana Business Daily, and is based in Washington state. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, CardMax Payments, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.